Good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon, David. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice to have you with me today. Now, I know you don't know much about the script because I write it. I've been writing it while you've been out the background, but it's all stuff that's in the general news, David, so
Yeah,
you be aware
so
of it.
bits and pieces I pick up as I go, right?
Right.
What I've been doing at the moment is I've been utilising my little Yeser artificial intelligence, right? Again, produce all sorts of pictures, and they're really nice. They're good pictures to put up when you're doing a post about something.
You're having fun, and as long as you're paying attention to news and you're
Right.
making memes to batter the Labour Party and the Tories and the Lib Dems and to promote Scottish independence, you play about with AI all you want, dear boy.
Well, I was keeping an eye on the Iran situation. But when Trump put out his big announcement saying, we've got a flotilla on its way there, what is it that a commander of an army doesn't do? You
Sorry.
don't send you don't send the ops to the other side a telegram saying we're going to bomb the hell out of you lot when you do it. You go quiet, don't you? Right? It just shows what Trump's all about. Trump's he's a useful idiot. That's all he is.
He's not that useful. Let's see who's in. Hi, Desiree. Hi, Rosalind Carrigan. Francis McKenna. Stephen Kelly. Gillian Albiston. And Stephen McNeil. Chris Fisher. Margaret Hitchens. Jane McClune. James Connolly. Robert the Bruce. Laurie Hay. Duncan McCretcher. George Ewan. Alex Adam. Alex. Kirsty Hamilton. Ginger Giraffe's in. We're just talking about the big fat orange man, baby. John Baxter's in. Right, back down the way. Numbers are climbing nicely. Thank you.
Sorry about the haircut, guys, but there you are. It's like NHS #1. We'll do what I say.
Tories don't get tasered. Although Tories don't get tasered, we will be touching a few English stories later if David lasts that long. I'm just going to let him wing it for as long as he wants today.
I'll have a go.
You'll have a go. Yeah. Right, may as well get started, David. I'm sure you'll be aware that this morning the First Minister put his head, over the weekend, the First Minister put his head above the parapet on the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital so-called scandal. And he says that he believes that the families had been lied to by the board of Greater Glasgow and Clyde Health Board.
Yeah.
And he also thinks that speculation isn't worth bothering with because Lord Brodie's report will be in a wee bit short, in a couple of months because the inquiry ended.
End of the day, it's a court case that's going ahead, right? Or an inquiry that's going ahead, right? I'll end up with a court case, and the barrister or the KC that's involved on the Scottish government side has already said, look, sorry, this is down to the health. Nothing to do with Scottish government. The advice given by the Scottish government, the health board decided to actually go against that. End of story. That's it. That's what you're left with. And at the end of the day, it's like when it goes to a court case, heads will roll in the health board.
Well, as I said, of course, the mainstream media says he's hiding behind the inquiry. Many times we hear this nonsense every time, no matter what who's in government.
It really upsets me is that children fucking died regarding this. And there's people in the unionist parties that are having a great time and using this to politicise the whole thing.
Charlie, I'm trying to do a show. You can't get down there now.
And you have to understand that is dirty politics.
That is dirty politics. It is actually, to watch Sarwar, it's a bloody disgrace. So it is, and playing on the bereavement. But let's get to it, right? and get into what the inquiry has revealed so far.
Can't see you for a page, David.
Got a cat here as a table. Come on, Charlie. Up you get. Put in a pit live one.
Bagazia. Bagazia.
Aye, that's what we share.
Bagazia. Oh,
Aye.
for fuck's sake.
Probably last about 10 minutes, you know. Anyway, it was just because people were complaining about the squeaking the other one was doing. This one's no squeaking.
It's just a fucking arse that squeaks. That's what it is.
I heard that. Right, so Lord Brodie's expected to publish his report a wee bit later this year. So at the timeline, the hospital opened too early in 2015, while there was still 20 contractors on site. It was badly managed, and the health board is suing the construction company complex because they didn't deliver the hospital that they had asked for, apparently.
That's a separate issue.
No, actually, it's all encompassed in the inquiry, believe it or not, David.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, it's like they could sue the contractor for delivering the wrong coloured blooming toilets, right? They could sue the contractor for doing the walls the wrong colour, right? As far as I'm concerned, it's a separate issue, and it's like the actual issue.
We better talk about the remit of this inquiry.
Yeah.
Safety and well-being of the patients.
Yeah.
And the design and construction of the facility.
Yeah.
As well as the management of the facility. Because what's been revealed so far, David, is that the maintenance of the facility since it was handed over has been atrocious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There has been air filters no replaced. There's been water filters no replaced. Meaning up to 20, 30, 40, 80 water filters were missing when they inspected the building. And this is after it been open for 3 years.
I mean, also, I can tell you to do one thing. Go to that building, go up through the floors, right? And with a spirit level in your pocket, put a spirit level in the ground, you're way out. And you know the reason I found out? Using a wheelchair, going along the end corridors. One way you could actually just let your hands off the wheels and you go, way, right? Okay. The other way you're pushing hard to get up, you know, it's really, really difficult.
That'd be poor tabling.
Yeah.
If you know how they construct those floors, they lay it on top of tables and then they move it. When it hardens up, they take the table away, move it up on top of that flare, and table the next floor.
Absolutely.
But I'm not, anyway, that's the remit to look into these things. Okay. So 2018, the health board makes the Scottish Government aware of 2 fatalities due to a cryptococcus or something like that.
Cryptococcus or whatever.
Aye, it's a fungal infection, apparently caused by pigeon poo.
It's also it's related to strep and all those different infections, right? At the end of the day, it's like the children that were involved. It doesn't matter how you put it. Right? Poor wee souls were very, very poorly, and if they got anything,
it's still important that we give people information here.
Yes, don't get me wrong, absolutely, but it's still in all
you. 3 children were being treated for possible waterborne infections.
Yeah.
So by September 18, 2 wards at the RHA, Royal Hospital for Children, on the campus were evacuated because of problems with water.
The most important thing we had the lady whose job it was to actually test the water on a day-by-day basis. Well, she was asked about it, and she said she actually took her concerns to the health board, and she was ignored.
All right.
So if you haven't seen that already, she actually she passed that on to the new was it STV or BBC? I forget. But anyway, she was.
It was a 2021 BBC investigation into the facility.
Yep.
I remember it now.
Yep.
Anyway, 2019, the health board, this September 2019, the health board reveals that a 10-year-old girl, a boy, sorry, and a 73-year-old boy had died of this pigeon poo infection.
Yeah.
In September, the Scottish government had had enough, because if you remember back then, there was a lot of problems with the board.
Yeah.
But at that time, the Scottish government had enough, and Nicola Sturgeon announced a public inquiry, and the remit of the inquiry will just explain safety, well-being, construction, and design and construction. Anyway,
the thing is, so public buildings have always had this problem with water tanks, with storing water, right? Especially air conditioning systems you talk about, right? Legionnaire's disease, that's a big killer. And that just doesn't just kill somebody that's maybe suffering with cancer or whatever. That kills healthy human beings, right?
Well, the interesting thing about people that died, they were all in immunocompromised states.
I know, appreciate that. And that's awful, really is. And those people.
Anyway, but as I said, 2019, by that time, the government had had enough. They've been fucked off fighting with the health board, our standards, our cleanliness, our maintenance. And during routine checks and inspection ordered by Public Health Scotland via the government, they discovered that 83 water filters were missing.
Yep.
That 20 odd air filters were missing.
Yep.
And that the two people who had become infected with the poo-based a cryptococcus or whatever it's called, they were in a ward where there was no air filters.
Yeah. Right, okay.
So as I say, big Grammy about it. And then move forward to 2021. And with the BBC investigation and all the nonsense that came with it. You remember at the time. And the Scottish government put the health board into emergency measures, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Not unusual, because I mean, my goodness me.
Well, they've got Highland in that, they've got Aberdeenshire in that state of Newham, the Grand Prix, and they're in emergency procedures.
Emergency measures just gives them the opportunity to draw in extra funding and extra staffing and all the rest to actually deal with the problem, whatever the problem may be.
And in 2025, it comes out startlingly brilliant for the hospital that since it opened nigh on 11 years ago, there's only been 84 recorded hospital-borne infections or hospital-acquired infections recorded, which is phenomenal.
Could this be as a result of Nicola Sturgeon's intervention in terms of the silver-based?
No, we're still in a situation where inpatients, people in the hospital, one in 19 pick up a hospital-borne infection.
You've got to look at it and see all the surfaces in a hospital as well. Yeah.
The Queen Elizabeth University Hospital is the cleanest fucking hospital in Europe.
Yeah, yeah.
When it comes to hospital-borne infections, 11 years, only 84 recorded incidents.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal record.
Yeah. Very good.
And it also brings into doubt this carry on about whether it was hospital, whether the infections were hospital-borne or whether they were brought in.
Yeah.
Because that record of only 84 recorded. But what is interesting is in 2019, there was an outbreak in the Children's Hospital where 84 children became ill. And as we know, 2 of them passed.
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, that one could have been brought in.
Could also be waterborne, apparently.
But the thing is, if it was waterborne, it means that it would be everybody would get it to a greater or lesser degree. And obviously, immunocompromised children would die, as in the situation in the big hospital, right? So I would say maybe that particular.
Thank you
very much, sir. Much appreciated.
I
Later.
hope I haven't missed anybody else's. No, I don't think I have. Anyway, so 84 kids became ill. Two of them died. And we know that 4 adults have died. And apparently there is going to be a police investigation into these 6 deaths.
Yeah.
As I was saying this morning, I'm not sure how Brodie's going to take that. But the interesting thing is this police investigation that was announced over the weekend, neither Police Scotland, the Crown Prosecution and Procurator Fiscal Service or the hospital or the police have said there's going to be an investigation into these 6 deaths. I think this one might just be made up with the press because this inquiry is ongoing, David.
Yeah, you've got to understand. See an inquiry like that, this is matter to all the unionist parties, right? And it's like they're talking about, this thing about getting Hamilton to release the Nicola files, as if it's the Epstein files. Yeah, and so you see I'm getting that, right?
Seriously. Well, that's right, David. That is in the news today because they're 4 days late and they still haven't published their files.
So what? So at the end of the day, it's like what John Swinney said, right, fine, okay, we're going to do them, right? We need to make sure that they're redacted because the right people are going to be protected and that, right? Fine, okay. So at the end of the day, it's like, been 4 days, been 2 weeks.
Well,
it really doesn't matter.
Anyway, the commissioners taking it to the Court of Session.
Yeah.
Again.
There you go.
Right. So, as I say, that's unusual for a police investigation to get underway until the inquiry is complete. So, I don't know whether that shite over the weekend is just electioneering by the papers, claiming that there is a police investigation into 6 deaths at the hospital, because that's no likely until the inquiry is finished.
Trying to dig up every bit of juice that they possibly can get. Sorry about that, metaphor, but they're trying to dig up everything that they can possibly get out of that one story, because no fine well.
But whoever started that rumour seen the papers or even started back half this morning.
Yeah.
Because it's a live inquiry.
Exactly my point. We've now got to the point where
thanks, Kirsty.
So it wasn't the Scottish government, it was the health board. Oh, bugger, right, okay, fine. So what they're trying to do is just keep the thing alive. That's what they're trying to do.
Right, Kirsty's telling us to test everyone for MRSA before being admitted to the QE.
Good idea. Very, very, very good idea, right? And also they should test everybody before they've actually put an X on a ballot paper to make sure they've got the blooming sense not to vote Reform or Labour or Conservative or Lib Dem.
You want to rig the vote, do you?
Sorry.
You want to rig the vote, do you? You've been up here too long, sir. Be careful. Right, next up, we're moving on, folks. Ruthie Tank Commander is back on the scene.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant.
Ruthie baby. Yes.
So what's Ruthie Tank Commander up to? Well, Ruthie Tank Commander and, Baroness Ruth Davison and Sir Andrew Street are launching a new movement to get politically homeless people to vote for the Conservative Party. Hey, you can stop now. Anyway.
Hang on, the Artemis. They found Hitler in the moon, and he's going to actually bring back a Nazi party. How's with that? There you go.
Anyway, according to statistics, according to Ruth and Andy, there are 7 million disaffected voters out there, and they want to woo them out of the side of the Tory party.
Yes.
And they want to get into consultation with these 7 million people to see what sort of policy it is they would like the Tory party to follow.
Yeah. I can assure you, in England, they'll get lots of people going, oh yeah, that's good, that's really good, right? But then those people will look at that situation and say, but most of the people I voted for in the Tory party and then moved across to Reform UK.
Well, that's why I was laughing at the headline when I read it.
Yeah,
Because politically, the homeless politically are already deciding to vote Reform
Yeah.
because they're looking for change.
Yeah.
The comical thing of that, of course, is what you're just pointing out. It isn't change, it's Tories 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, Tory light, Tory sugar free. I can't believe it's not a Tory.
Well, anyway, Ruthie wanted to take, and Andy wanted to take the Tory party back to the centre ground, which is quite interesting because we see Keir Starmer doing something different like for that, and we'll get to that a wee bit later on. All right, so is this a UK-wide initiative? Will this new movement reach into Scotland?
No, but I do assure you it will have a bearing on Scotland, because at that point you can hope that they are going to be campaigning as hard as they possibly can to get the people of Scotland to get into the Tories, and we, the good guys, because we are, look at us, we are good guys, we're going to say, well, you don't need to do anything. You're already voting for Tory if you vote Reform.
Yep. Which is interesting because the Reform UK here in Scotland have deferred selecting candidates for a little longer, and Lord Offord and Nigel Farage have told us why.
Well, Lord Offord, Tory, brackets, right? It's like, that should tell you everything you need to know.
Well, anyway, why is it they're holding off in selecting candidates here in Scotland for the 2026 May election?
In case somebody like me that wants to get in and infiltrate the thing gets in and destroys it. That's all I can think of. Come on, dude.
No, that's what.
Go on in.
They're waiting for public officials to defect. They're expecting more defections. That way they can pick people who already have political a political career under their belt.
Yeah.
Farage realises if he's going to win, he's going to need people who know what they're doing. I mean, if we look at Kent County Council and all the councils down that road, they're a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
They're an absolute disaster.
They promised they would not put up the council tax. What did they do?
Put it up at a maximum.
Tax.
Or they're going to put it up at a maximum.
Yeah.
They promised to go in and slash everything. Get rid of all the waste, and when they got there, they found out it's just a skeleton in the closet. You know, there was fuck all left. You know, just the bare bones of infrastructure.
Yeah.
And the bare bones of services. There was nothing left to cut. Yeah. And that's a poor indictment on our society.
Well, it's a poor indictment on the ideas of a political cabal called Reform, because it's now a cabal because it involves the Tories, right? And we're looking at the situation whereby people that vote Reform are in actual fact, they are voting Tory. And we're going to keep on saying that from now until the election.
So, let's go into devolved matters, proper devolved matters. We'll move away from Darth Ruthie Tank Commander. Just give her a mention because she's Scottish. And it was funny.
Yes, it was funny.
It was definitely funny.
So, sorry, I couldn't help laughing there.
No.
That's very unprofessional of me, but there you go.
No, not at all, David. It was a good reaction, seeing you didn't actually know about the story prior to a couple of minutes before the show. Because you had time to think about it, and that's funny. That's extremely funny. Anyway, let's move on. The Assisted Dying Bill here in Scotland, the Assisted Dying Act Scotland, 2025, I believe, it passed its first stage just before the recess. So anyway, it looks like it's going to have to be rewritten because it ain't going to pass muster with Westminster.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's a very emotive subject politically, but socially, some people like the idea of that. if you're a Christian, you're told you're not allowed to. If you take your own life, then you go down to the bad fire. Simple as that, right? End story, right? But there are people out there that really are living in hell. They're living in hell, and this assisted dying bill is not something that should be talked about. It's something that should just be voted on, and people should put in place for those people who really.
But you've got to remember, David, this section is not really about this bill.
Yeah.
It's about devolution.
I know, appreciate that.
Right. So what's the problem here? Why won't that bill fly if they send it away for a section 30 to get signed? Get section 30.
Section 104 clearly tells you. I'm saying this because
you
don't already.
We're nowhere section 104 here in the Scotland Act. What is the problem with this bill? The problem with this bill is the protections for NHS staff who opt out of participating.
Yes.
Now, why is that a problem, David?
Well, you get enough people who opt out of it, then effectively at the end of the day, you haven't got a bill.
We're devolved powers here, David.
Right. Well,
right.
So
the problem with it is workers' rights and protections are reserved.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Liam MacArthur, who wrote this bill, wrote in protection for staff, but he doesn't have the legislative power to do that. Yeah. Now, where they have granted a limited Section 30 order on this bill is so that the Scottish Government could work out method and equipment required to carry out this particular procedure. But when it comes to Section 104 of the 1998 Scotland Act, David, unless they take the Workers' Rights Bill part of the bill out and then put it back in retrospectively after the bill's been passed, and a Section 104 saying that the UK government will amend its legislation UK-wide so it fits the new Scottish bill under devolution, then it's not going to fly. In other words, it's not within the devolved competence of the Parliament, and that's the point. That's the whole point of talking about this story. I don't really want to talk about the assisted.
Are you admitting you're a sad bastard for getting as far as Section 104?
It goes on forever. I had to remind myself what Section 104 was.
He's got a great deal. He's got a big difficulty in sleeping, so he reads these things. That's it. So.
A wee while since I read the 1998 Scotland Act, but basically, as I said, what it is it's the order to get Westminster civil servants to amend the UK-wide legislation to bend round the new bill in Scotland to make it work, in other words. So, as I say, this bit wasn't really, folks, about the assisted dying. It could have been any bill. It's an example of where devolution fails the people of Scotland, because this bill would not pass, because we in Scotland were trying to protect the staff within the NHS Scotland. It's not within our gift to protect the staff in NHS Scotland. That is the point of this particular piece. It's not really got anything to do with the particular bill. It's got to do with the limitations of devolution. Because you've been watching, we've been doing a series on being involved in politics and understanding politics. It's understanding what's reserved and what's devolved, and where they clash up against each other. This bill and workers' rights within this bill is a perfect example of where they would clash. And when we talk about Section 104 of the 1998 Scotland Act, what we're actually talking about is another veto.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to maybe put a bit of light on that, you find that where they clash up against each other, creates nuances. You think, it's just a nuance. But a barrister will quite happily take that nuance and create an entire case out of it, right? Yep. And that's it in the story. That's where it all comes from.
See, this was really, it could have been any bill where there would be a clash of devolved powers and reserved powers. And this is a perfect example of a clash of devolved powers and reserved powers and the limitations of devolution. And that's why we need all the powers. Because whether you like the idea of this bill or no, it shouldn't be Westminster's decision to protect workers' rights in our country. It should be our decision. And here we're going to see a bill which could actually be merciful for a lot of people fail because the guy next door says, no, we control your worker rights.
Maybe a timely point to actually say, time for independence.
Well, it's going to make it the next section of what you go that for, but hey ho. Right, let's move on. John Swinney announces plan for National Housing Agency, David.
Wonderful. Hang on a second. Absolutely brilliant. I've read about it, but it's not going to come in until about 2028.
As contingent on the Scottish Government, the current Scottish Government being re-elected, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Just being re-elected, right? That means it could be a pro-indie coalition, right, between the Greens and the SNP and whatever, right? So it's a good idea to actually make sure you point that out. What we're looking for is we're looking for a majority for the SNP. Really? Yeah. Sorry.
And Stephen, that's a reasonable point. And the problem is the fact that large sections of the population don't know half of the facts about devolution and what we can and can't do. That's why I've taken up this bit about getting involved in democracy and understanding your democracy. As I say, the thing about the assisted dying bill, it could be any bill. The one before it that rocked up against the Westminster Government and reserved powers, the gender recognition bill.
Yeah. What I'd love to do, seriously, what I'd love to do, just for fun, if I had the ability to introduce a bill into Holyrood, would be to actually set up a referendum on whether we want the monarchy anymore. Let's just go for it. There's no reason why we can't do it. But I tell you what, talk about the cat amongst the pigeons. That would be it. That'd be the biggest, hairiest cat you ever seen, and the biggest.
Martin got a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, this one's Martin Boyd. This time's got a good point. And Martin's point is the irony of the whole thing is the guy who wrote this bill was a fucking unionist. So banging up against Westminster and discovering the limitations that devolution has put on this young man, Mr. MacArthur, Liam MacArthur of the Liberal Democrat Party. I like that. So it would appear that, as I say, that one's going to fail. So let's move on to the new housing agency. It would come in 27-28. Now, the idea of it, David, is that the national, it's going to be called More Homes Scotland. Right, that would be the name of the body that we set up, More Homes Scotland. Now, the idea behind it is that More Homes Scotland will work with the Scottish Government, local authorities and the National Investment Bank to bring about the investment to construct more social housing. Now, of course, getting private equity into constructing more social housing is very difficult because it would undermine the value of the private property portfolio.
You're damn right. Of course it would. Every house in Scotland, doesn't matter where they are, they would all start going down the way, right?
But here's the interesting part about it.
It's a good thing, right?
David, here's the interesting part about it is they're not looking for people who are involved in property portfolios to invest. They're looking for people who are investing in Scotland to invest a wee bit in this and all, because social housing creates social mobility and it makes it easier to move the workforce around, which is good for the economy.
Yes, that's right.
So they know they're not going to get private equity coming from people who have already got property portfolios, so they're looking to get it for industry. Say, if you're an industry here in Scotland and you're struggling for workers It's because everybody's tied to their houses. Let's build some social housing and get that young workforce moving.
Well, a practical example of that is there might be lots of work in Perth because there's an industry that's there, right? I'm not going to tell you what industry, but there's an industry there, right? But other people that would be suitable for that industry live in Aberdeen.
Aye.
Right? Let's create a lot of social housing. So therefore, those people that's in Aberdeen that go, well, I can't leave here because I can't get a price for it, or I can't get a decent house across there. There you are. Rent a house. Rent a house.
Now,
There you are. Good job.
this one's a watching brief for me because I'm quite interested in this, David. Because when they talk about increasing the numbers of social housing, see, when I drive around here in the Central Belt, there's a lot of these plots that have been built by private contractors that are just only selling.
That's right.
The national, the More Homes Scotland agency should be looking at buying these up off these developers.
That's right.
And making them social housing.
At the end of the day, it's like, let's wait until the developers go bust and then pick them up off the receiver.
No point. We need the building contractors to exist and to be able to build the
building contractors will be there, right? They are not necessarily the company that are actually selling the items. You're
these days.
Talking about the big contractors like Persimmon Homes or whatever, right? Yeah, fine. But the smaller contractors, they employ brickies and all the rest of it, right? As a contractor, right? Still want those contractors to exist, want them, but the middlemen.
The people you were talking about is where they know they're not going to get the equity to build these things. Right. So what they're doing is they're looking through the investment bank at industry and saying, industry, listen, you need a mobile workforce. We need a mobile workforce. Help us buy social housing and get that mobile workforce. It's good thinking.
Yeah.
The one thing that social housing gave us all back in the 60s and the 70s was social mobility. If it was a job for me in Birmingham, I could get a council house there.
Yes.
If the guy in Birmingham got a job in Glasgow, there was a social housing there for him.
Yeah.
Because people flowed for different industries across these islands.
The problem is the moment that's causing lots of problems politically because Bracknell, who deal with immigration, are dealing with the asylum seekers, are actually sending them up to Glasgow. They're sending people that are recent asylum seekers. They've gone through the system, and they're getting pushed up to Glasgow.
Yeah. No, we need to build social housing for them. We need the workforce.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got, whereas in England, unemployment is rising, here in Scotland, it's actually come down.
Yeah. They become good industrious workers.
As I say, but the whole idea is joined up thinking.
Yeah.
It is joined up thinking.
Yeah. Why do politicians and certain people in organisations have difficulty with joined up thinking? If they go away and sit and think about things long enough, it will come to them. It will. Seriously.
It will. So it's a good idea, David. A good idea. But there is a couple of drawbacks, and that is will they be able to find the investment?
Well,
these people are going to have to be around a long time to get a return on these social housing.
I believe that we've got an investment bank going, right? Okay, it's tied up with the energy setup. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm sure if we can get an investment bank going, we can also create a bank out of more homes as well.
Well, they're going to work with the existing National Investment Bank, which has been around a long time now, David.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years at least. And apparently it turned a profit as well.
Yeah. What colour ice are they doing these days?
We're going to finish up the Scotland section on the will it aye or will it no? And we're talking about a new ferry link from Rosyth to Europe.
Yeah.
In this particular case, Dunkirk. Now, once again, folks, we are on a problem of devolution. Dunkirk's ready to go.
Yep.
Rosyth isn't.
Well, Scotland is.
Oh, the facilities are there, David.
Yeah, Scotland is. What's the thing that's sticking it all, making it all like impossible?
The border force is it's the Scotland's borders are and coastline are controlled by the UK government. They are. It's the UK border force or border control.
So let's see. Hang on a second. So we need to get rid of Bracknell out of the equation. We need to get rid of the border force out of the equation. How do we do that? Oh yeah, time for independence, independence, independence. As I say,
right. Anyway, the problem is the UK government's going to sanction that border post and it's going to man it. It's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And as you know, there's a fight going on. I don't know if you know, but there's a fight going on down the south of Scotland about border control. They've managed to get rid. They've managed to smooth it out now because the UK government wanted the Scottish government to build the holding facility when they thought there was going to have to be major checks going through to Northern Ireland. Now the checks are done out in Northern Ireland, so there's no fight between the Scottish government and English government about who's financing that holding facility, right? At the Cairnryan. Now there is a fight again about staffing, financing, and operating a border post at Rosyth. It would appear Westminster's not that keen.
Well, all I can say is that a link between Rosyth and Dunkirk is a bloody good idea.
A link between the east coast of Scotland and mainland Europe's a fucking good idea.
Let's have many links between the east coast of Scotland and the west coast of Europe.
But it's highly likely we're not even going to get one because the UK government is refusing to finance and staff a border post in Scotland for an international carrier.
But then if we become an independent nation, they're probably the first thing on the books.
It would be the first thing in the books.
Yeah.
But as I say, another problem with being in this union. This ferry service has been up and ready to go since a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
And it can't get up and running because of the UK refusing to man the border post.
There's lots of things happening as regards independence, and the England are just refusing to play. That's the whole point. It's our ball and we're going home. Fuck off home and don't come back here. Anyway, there you go.
Aye. So, folks, a few of the articles I've picked to speak about today was specifically because it shows you the shortcomings of devolution and how bloody minded England can be on holding Scotland back. Or sorry, Westminster could be on holding Scotland back, because when you think about it, the mere trade routes, the mere revenue would flow to the Treasury. The mere pressure would be off the southeast.
Right.
But not to be, because that would mean Scotland could trade directly with other people, and England doesn't want that.
You can't have that. That's not allowed.
It certainly is not.
Scotland can never have something that England have got. Oh no.
No. The thing is, if everyone's going to travel through England to get out, they charge the excise in England.
See, when the high-speed rail link plumbing fell apart, I laughed and laughed. Oh, I laughed and laughed. Because there was a situation where Scotland were having to pay for something, but we weren't going to get any use of it.
Aye.
Most people in Scotland wouldn't even see a high-speed train, right? Maybe see it on the TV, but wouldn't see it eye to eye, right? And it's like, there you are. There's another situation whereby, and the English government, call it that from now on, the English government are going to stick their feet in and stop, or dig their heels in to stop us from getting anything. End of story. That's that.
Aye. Right, let's move down that road and the problems of the Labour Party, of course. Stammer's not got his problems to seek, but he's in a lot more trouble now because he's blocked Andy Burnham for standing in the Gorton and
Who are,
Dent by-election.
who are Labour? Oh, you mean Friends of Israel? Sorry. Yeah, I know you're talking about now. Right.
Anyway, apparently they convened the NEC,
Yep.
of which Starmer is a member,
Mm-hmm.
and they voted 8-1 with one abstention. I would imagine that was Starmer.
Yep.
To block Burnham. And the reason being they're saying is it's to avoid an unnecessary mayoral election. Truth is, and the real truth is, Starmer's shit scared for his job.
Well, no, Starmer's an authoritarian. He's not going to allow anybody to stand against him. He's not going to set up any situation where somebody later on could come up through the ranks and take him on.
Well, really,
yeah.
as I say, Starmer's worried about his job, but he hasn't completed his project.
Yeah.
Now, you have to understand the direction of travel Labour's been going on since Tony Blair. And I know you do understand, David. So, now Tony Blair started the project to move Labour to the centre ground, allegedly, but he actually moved them slightly centre right. Okay. So, there hasn't been any Labour values for a long, long time, right? But since Blair came to power in 1997, he decided to dump socialism and continue Thatcher's modern or stroke neoliberalism. Now, Blair privatised higher education, in other words, university tuition fees. He introduced competition and privatisation within the NHS. He then moved the responsibility to pay a decent wage from the company owners to the taxpayers. That was the tax credit system and the minimum wage. And of course, they deregulated the banks, which led to the 2008 banking crash. So, Blair continued with modern stroke neoliberalism and moved the Labour Party all the way from centre left to just right of centre. So up comes the wee line graph, so you can see it, folks.
Well,
I don't know if it makes any sense, but that's the left there, that's the centre there.
This modern day thing, oh my goodness, this is dreadful.
And that's the right wing there. Right, Tony Blair moved the Labour Party just to the right of centre. Starmer's intention is to move it to the centre of the right. Okay, so you've got TV there on the line, and you've got KS there on the line. As you can see, Tony Blair moved them just right of centre, and Keir Starmer's project is to move them to the mid-centre or authoritarian government, with more government control while being a smaller government. They're going to use the law to manipulate the people.
Can we also mention that it was Gordon Brown that sold off the gold and actually really established the idea of the full currency, whereby we've got a situation now where China and Russia have amassed so much gold, there's a possibility it could actually introduce a gold-backed currency and make all the other currencies in the world worthless.
Well, at the rate European businesses are dumping American bonds.
I was just about to say that, yes.
But I want to get back to the real reason why Starmer's petrified, because he's been invested in by a lot of fucking Nazis to get them to the point of authoritarianism, and that's where the Nazi can start taking over.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about the Israeli regime, we're talking about corporate interests, we're talking about, whereas Labour was always a member-funded model, it's now a conservative-style funded model with big backers who they've got to lick the boots of. And as I say, the backers that Starmer got in bed with are much farther to the right than the Conservative Party are today. They're much farther to the right than where Nigel Farage is today. And that's fucking saying something. I mean, when we look at the backers of Starmer, like Labour Friends for Israel, or the Israel lobby, if you look at how right-wing Israel is, It's an authoritarian state bordering on Nazism. In fact, it just went right. It just went full on Nazism under Netanyahu. But that's Starmer's backers, and they're backing him to get the Labour Party about an inch.
I think backing's the wrong adjective to use, but we won't go any further than that.
But they're backing him to move to Israeli-style politics.
Yeah.
And if we look at how far to the right that is,
yeah.
And we're also seeing him move towards an ideological state in his image. We've got statements for I am a Zionist for him and for the Chancellor and things like that, you know.
Millie, that's the reason I mentioned it, by the way. Gordon Brown's getting the busy consuming he walks at the moment, just making sure that he's still able to move about and all the rest of it. He's coming out just before the election.
And of course, as well as Starmer moving the Labour Party to the right of the Tories to try and stay in front, because the Conservative Party are the most successful political party that these islands have ever seen. They have been in power more times than any other party.
No, David, the whole thing leaves me horrified. It's like we're now getting to the stage where Scotland started infected by right-wing loonies.
Fortunately, it's a small minority, David.
Yeah.
Although when you look at the polls, and Farage is running up there at 20% in the polls, and Labour are doing it 14%.
Yeah,
that is frightening.
It's like a cancer. It's running away. We need to deal with it.
But you have to remember, folks, if you want to look at a long-term trajectory for the Labour Party, it's going to be beyond Farage, because the people who are backing him are backing him to get them to a place where they're totally in control. From 15-minute cities to all sorts.
Right, guys, one thing I want you to do, right? See, anytime you're actually talking to somebody that's going to vote reform, I want you to use a frame. Oh, so you're a Tory then?
Aye.
Go, no, I'm voting reform. No, well, that's what reform is. Tories.
Right, let's move on to Suella Braverman jumping ship.
Oh yes, this one. Again, it's like you go. It's like diet Tory light, sugar free Tory. I can't believe it's not a Tory. Yeah. Sorry.
Glasgow. Go.
Hey. I'm gonna get rid of this.
I hope you're Are you the Glasgow that tell me? Andy Luke was telling me about. Anyway, well.
Sorry about that.
Right. She said she's home as she danced across the stage to Farage at the event. And looking at her performance as Tory Home Secretary, I would say that's fucking right.
Yeah.
You know? Definitely right to the Tories. Not quite as far as Labour yet, but right to the Tories.
She's been a Conservative member for 30 years.
Yes.
Right? And our comment was, I feel as if I'm home.
Aye. And it's the right place for her.
No, but the thing is, so you look at Suella Braverman, and she was more Tory than the Tories, right? At the end of the day, we all hated her, right? But she was more Tory than the Tories, and it's like she feels that she is home. But yeah.
Real Jews hate Israeli Zionism. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Braverman jumped ship, another one.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the Merriam jumped ship, Farage seems to be dragged a wee bit further back in the polls.
Yeah.
But that's just because of a certain level of unpopularity with the people who are jumping ship.
It really doesn't matter. It really honestly doesn't matter at the end of the day. If Farage was put it out before the 2029 general election, right? Somebody else will take forward reform. Reform is now too important to the right wing. Yeah, for it to go by the by. It's going to happen. Reform is going to happen. It might be that Nigel Farage is not the Prime Minister, right? someone will, and that will be the party.
Well, as I say, I'm of a different opinion. I think reform might be around because, let's face it, the Tories are done.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite sure whether Farage will be anywhere near the front if they're still around.
Whether he gets into number 10 or not, I think that's up in the air because Farage is now seen as being persona non grata because of several things, right?
Now, David, I want to quickly touch on this one because we're running out of time, and
Yeah.
that is the Home Secretary to introduce FBI style department in UK.
What do you think? Also, we'll get a Department of Homeland Security and ICE agents running about Scotland.
Well, we have a border patrol.
Yeah.
We also have a UK-wide agency that deals with the things that this new agency is supposed to deal with. But more important, this so-called FBI UK only applies to England and Wales.
Yeah. All right.
In fact, actually, it only applies to England.
Yeah.
And do you know what it is? Do you know what it is that Mahmood's actually talking about? I'll put it up quick, David.
Yeah.
Right, let's get this up. A new national police service will free up local forces to tackle everyday crime by taking over responsibilities for counter-terror, fraud and organised crime investigations. Now, I wonder how Scotland Yard and MI5 are going to take this fucking news that they have to disappear off the map. Because at this point in time, Scotland Yard deals with serious crime, fraud and organised crime in England.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, MI5 looks after internal security UK-wide. So if this new body is going to take in or is going to be responsible for counter-terror, fraud and organised crime investigations, counter-terror, and of course, is the remit of MI5. Keeping the borders secure is the remit of MI5.
Yeah, but also,
internal security
as well as there being an MI5, there was a CI5. Or is that just
that was a TV program, you daft get you.
Yeah, for criminal intelligence, right? At the end of the day, right? So there you go. It's like we're talking about an FBI in England. Fine, that's it.
But that's not what she's talking about. What she's talking about is doing what Police Scotland didn't make it a single force.
Yeah, but still in all, you're going to get all these little agencies running about, right?
So I think what she's talking about here is integrating Scotland Yard and MI5.
Yeah.
That's what I think she's talking about. Anyway, David, you've done well. You made deal. That's great progress, dear boy.
Supercalifragilistic.
Don't overdo it. See what happens on Thursday. You've made deal this time. Don't push it, because I'm no putting up with a fucking earache I get for your missus.
Oh, well, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, it's all right. She gives you earache, but it doesn't last for long. There you go.
You did well. Right, folks, thanks very much for watching in such huge numbers today. Thanks for the super chats. It all helps. It all goes to food banks, as you know. And we hope you enjoyed today's show and the conversations that we've been having, the conversation we've been having here, the subjects we've covered here, and of course, the conversations going on in the chat, because it always impresses me the way that you can be listening and talking about the subjects a bit more in depth in the chat between different individuals. You know, that's really quite good. So, thank you very much. And
Chris 85. To use Roman numerals. Oh, the heck, man.
They're all getting numbers, I think. Some are getting numbers.
No, he's gone LXXX1X.
I see. Well, that's 30.
89, that is. L's 50. 3 X's is 30.
Oh, sorry, I never noticed the L there, David. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought that was part of his fucking name, the L. Very good. Right. That's 5 o'clock, David. I've got work to go to. Time to go. I'll schedule
guys,
the program.
Thanks for having me. Seriously, I did try. I've been working at it to try and get this far through. My speech is now starting to break down. I know maybe you're looking at it and you're going, okay, but it does start to degrade as time goes on. So there you go.
And apparently Chris has got that there because it's his age. He's 85.
What, age 89? No, Chris has just put up Chris LXXX1X. It's just my age.
Aye.
Right.
So there you go, folks. Go. We'll get our fair, David, and get the Thursday programme scheduled. Everybody's glad to have you back. Okay. Right. So we'll see how it goes on Thursday, David.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, bye.
Have a good time. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, folks.
Bye.